I'd like to introduce the man who I think came up with the idea of rock and roll and dope and fucking in the streets. Which Mr. Anslinger very well might have been right on some of that stuff. But with great pleasure, I get to introduce my friend, Mr. John Sinclair.
Hey everybody, we finally get a beautiful day. Thank you, our creator. And I'd like to thank the focus group too for resolving a sticky situation to the benefit of everyone concerned. Even the university can maintain its reputation as a hotbed of free speech after today's results. Good for them. It's also especially pleasing to me to see our traditional event, which started, oh man, they say 1971 was the first gathering on the Diag for a bunch of people to get high communally. I was in prison at that time, serving 2.5 years of a 9.5 to 10-year sentence for possession of 2 marijuana cigarettes. So, well, they're still doing it today. Not here. We fixed that to a certain extent here in Ann Arbor back in 1972. Except if you're on campus, I understand this is like another planet that's settled down here in the middle of the city of Ann Arbor, which has a relatively reasonable marijuana law. Well, I just wanted to say a few words about the history of the event because it started back in 1971. In 1972, it became the Hash Bash. An interesting thing about that is I was in Berkeley, California a couple of years ago. I ran into an old friend from here named Walden Simper. At the time, she was an artist member of the Rainbow People's Party over on Hill Street. And she got the assignment to make the flyer for the thing on the Diag on April Fool's Day, 1972. And she told me just a couple of years ago that she was sitting there and getting high enough to create a work of art. And she thought this should have a name. And so she wrote Hash Bash. And even today, in the 21st century, it's still ringing. Yeah. So we'll send a big toke out to Walden Simper all the way out to California. But it's, I feel it's incumbent upon me when I am invited to speak here to talk about how this came about. There's a few events that aren't quite as apparent as the fact that every year at this time we celebrate marijuana usage by citizens and protest against the laws on the first Saturday in April. Well, first Saturday in April in 1972 fell on April Fool's Day. It ended a particularly proud period in Michigan history when there were no marijuana laws whatsoever. Between the 12th of March and the 1st of April, there were about 3 weeks. We had overturned the previous laws, and the new laws weren't set to go into effect until April 1st. So during that period, of course, we took every opportunity to celebrate this interim period. In public events, we could have our religious ceremonies, including rock and roll music and people smoking weed at the altar during this 3-week period. And on April 1st, we thought it was particularly important to demonstrate that even though we would become criminals once again on that day, we would continue to practice the things we believed in, including getting high and trying to reach out into the cosmos and make a connection. So there's a spirit of resistance that's part of the Hash Bash and that I celebrate. But for me, it's particularly important to be here today as a guest of Focus, because my roots are also in the arts movement. And for me, the making of art, the gathering of artists, the enjoying of art is always, in my experience, accompanied with ingesting substances that will raise your consciousness, like marijuana. The artists, the musicians, the painters, the poets, the producers, just about everybody I know smokes weed and creates great art. It's always been part of our legacy, and it's happening today, so even more than ever. And I'm very, very happy to be here. I came all the way from Amsterdam, where I live now. The heads of Amsterdam heeded our messages from the 60s and the early 70s. And when we instituted the $5 marijuana law here, they convinced their government that there was nothing wrong with people smoking marijuana and they shouldn't be treated as criminals. And so they ended that in 1972 and started establishing coffee shops as places where people could go to buy their weed across the counter, get a cup of coffee and sit and have a joint in the pleasant circumstances and not have to go out in the alley like we do in the United States. So I'd just like to offer, as an artist, a poet, I'd like to offer an excerpt from a long poem of mine, which I took the title, I learned the title from people like yourselves. It's called It's All Good. Ha. I should remember this by now. When you go to the Cannabis Cup in Amsterdam, they got people coming there from all over the world to check out the finest marijuana grown by the seed companies of Holland for us to smoke and get high and enjoy the wonderful atmosphere of a society where people just don't care if you want to get high. Hey, that's just fine. Come on over here to the coffee shop and order up whatever kind of weed or hash you might want to smoke, 'cause it's all good. It's all good. And by the end of the week, they're gonna pick the finest marijuana that's been submitted for the testing of the exalted panel of judges here at the Cannabis Cup. And guess what? Well, we're smoking all those different kinds of weed and trying to figure out which one is gonna win the cup. Every different brand we try is gonna be the bomb, 'cause it's all good. It's all good. But when we get back to the United States, it ain't gonna be nothing like this. In the United States, it ain't nothing nice, 'cause they got a war on people like us. They call it the war on drugs, but they don't give a fuck about drugs, because if you got a prescription, you can get just as loaded as any human being has ever been on the planet Earth. They just don't like us getting high on marijuana or whatever we might want to use to affect a certain change in our consciousness, because that's all good. It's all good. Now, I like to get high. I'm not gonna make any bones about it. I like to get high, and you know, whatever I like to get high on, I believe I have a right to do this. And you too. And everybody in our society. Because people want drugs. They want to get high. People have been getting high ever since there's been people. They've been fucking. They've been getting high. And like in Amsterdam, they've been buying some pussy, you know. These things have been going on, and they will continue to go on, because that's all good.
Yeah.
So, to keep us from getting high, like we are today, here on the Diag, they got police. They got so many police, you couldn't even believe it. They got electronical equipment. They got helicopters. They got exotic chemicals killing the shit off in the fields. They got people going out all over South America and Asia and all over the world trying to keep this shit from getting to the United States. And when it finally does get here, you got to pay so much money for it that it's about to drive you crazy. So, we're gonna forget about America for the rest of the week and enjoy ourselves here at the Cannabis Cup all week long. And on Thanksgiving Day, when they announce who grew the best pot for us to smoke and get high on, let's give thanks for every strain of weed that's made its way here to us today. With special appreciation for all the growers of marijuana all over the world, and our intrepid comrades who risk life and limb to supply us with the substances we require, and all the warriors doing time in the vast penitentiaries of America as prisoners of the war on drugs. We salute you all, and thank you once again for all the good you have done, because it's all good. It's all good. Thank you.